I think that's the perfect, I don't know, overflow to our topic. Let's start the meeting. So welcome to our Resource Access working meeting, special working meeting today, and hello to the virtual attendees, especially Cornelia, who will present in a minute. Yeah, I think that's it for that. So did you hear people speak in the room when they talked?
No, I was going to mention that in the earlier sessions I had as well, it's very hard to hear anyone who's not right next to the computer. So if things could just be repeated.
We will either
or come up.
repeat or people come up to the
try and sit on the front row and like come closer to that.
Yeah, or anyone wants to speak can come to the owl. Okay. So our topic today is that Cornelia will give us a small walkthrough or a walkthrough through the claims returned and the lost process and the claim return process, and wants them to discuss this process and possible gaps and issues as well. And without further ado, I would absolutely give over to you, Cornelia, and go.
Yeah, hello again, everyone. There's no need to introduce myself because they're all familiar faces in the room. I had planned to join you in person, but unfortunately I became ill and was not, and I'm still not able to travel. So quite sad to be here, but at least I can join you on Zoom and talk to you.
In just a minute, how is Cornelia's voice coming through here in the room? Should I up the volume a little? A little?
Yeah.
Test. Cornelia, say something.
Yes. Loud enough.
It's not moving on the TV. It's stuck at 29.
Wow, that can be helped if I enjoy a view of the ocean a little. Cornelia?
Yes. Do you hear me?
That's better, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Great. So you can see my slides now?
Yes.
Yes. So why are we talking about this all? So was there someone saying something? No. Okay, so yeah, as many of you know, I've been testing a lot of feeds and finds and bug fests over the years and been leading testing for some times. And the age to loss process is too loud? No, okay. Sorry, I see you.
But it's a question, is it too light now?
Okay. So I'm just not looking at you and you can go around. Okay. So the process seems intimidating, especially in Bugfest when you have to set up everything. And I've for a long time wanted to make this more visible to testers, and there have also been questions about how it's supposed to work on Slack, and there is some need to understand how it's supposed to work. And also, being from a German library, I'm quite fascinated by this functionality because our current systems in Germany, they don't have this, and I've come across German librarians who said, oh, we have needed this until now. We are, maybe we won't use it ever, but it's such great functionality, and it makes our lost item replacement workflow so much easier. So that's why I want to be an advocate for using it. And to help people understand it better, I've created a flowchart, the very first ever. So now I'm switching over here. Is this visible to everyone?
Maybe a bit bigger.
Can I? No. Boop, 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 boop. Is that better?
Better than the second row. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So yeah, I think this is my first professional flowchart I created. So if you have any suggestions how to make it better, let me know afterwards. So in Folio, we can let item age to lost, and that means, just to repeat the basics that everyone is aware of, we consider an item so long overdue. We have an item that is so long overdue, we consider it lost and want to charge replacement fees. And there is the possibility to either use a set cost, which is a fixed price for everything that gets lost, or the actual cost. And in addition to that, you can add a lost item processing fee. It's all in the lost item fee policies that I think everyone knows. There is the setting for lost item fees not charged a fee or fine, close the loan after a certain interval. And as it is, if you use set cost, it is not possible to not charge a fee because validation forces you to enter an amount either in set cost or in the processing fee that's greater than 0. But if you don't charge a processing fee and you charge actual cost, then you get a situation where the fee is not charged, and this setting causes causes the item to expire from the actual costs list. I think you are all aware of all aware of this list, lost items requiring actual cost. And
Can I ask you a question, Cornelia? Sorry, now already. So it's no longer is listed on that page, but the loan is also closed.
yes.
No,
It-
no, it hasn't been.
No,
No? Yes.
loans are not closed when they are billed as lost.
But even if it expires.
They are. If it expires, the loan is closed. Yes.
Oh, the expires. Yes, there
The
we go.
expired.
Sorry, got confused.
Yes, and this is what this setting does.
Yeah.
Not charge the fee. If you don't charge the actual cost in the determined interval, it will expire and then the loan closes.
What's the item? What's the status of the loan in that case? Is it just, does it remain age to lost, or does it
No,
say
it's lost and paid.
lost and paid? All right. Thank you.
So, but if you build something, then there are 3 possibilities how this can proceed. So either patron comes and says, oh, they have really lost it, and pay all the fees, or you transfer them or waive them or cancel them as an error, so all the fees are cleared, then the loan closes with the status lost and paid. Or patron comes and says, or they haven't lost it, they just forgot to return it, which is often the case, I've heard from you. So you can check the item in, or you're able to renew it by override. So what then happens then? First, the lost item fee is cancelled. If the patron has already paid or transferred partial amounts, those are refunded to the patron. And for the lost item processing fee, there is a setting. This is this one. Yeah, if lost item returned or renewed, remove lost item processing fee, yes or no. So if you said yes, then the processing fee is also canceled and partially paid or transferred amounts are refunded. Or you say no, then the processing fee is outstanding and it still needs to be actioned upon, paid or waived or transferred. It cannot be canceled as error at this moment.
Can I ask another question? Sorry.
Yes, yes, please.
And just for full transparency, I know it's a difficult topic, the wording refunded. So I understand, so sorry, regardless of the refunded there, so the patron has paid something, but that cost should be cancelled. Does the result of this refunding mean that the patron's account is at zero? Or is it that what would originally been paid comes back onto the account and then has to be waived as a next step? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It comes back to the account and then needs to be paid back to the patron. This is what this refunds to process manually report is for. Yeah, so I'm no expert on refunds, absolutely not. So maybe if someone else wants to chip in here.
I mean, just that there's a distinction between a credit and a refund, right? Right. Folio will issue a credit onto a patron. This is not a fully developed functionality, I don't believe, but you know, Folio is designed to issue a credit to the patron's account, and then you have to resolve that credit. And right now, it's really just by manually kind of going and refunding.
And I think
when you refund.
Sorry.
When you refund something, there are two actions at the same time: the credit to the patron's account and a refund as a second action, which is just like short for the not fully developed workflow. Yes.
And before Holly retired, we actually, David was on this group with me as well. We spent a lot of time rethinking how this worked because it's really very confusing right now. It is not fully developed and it doesn't make sense the way it's developed right now. And so issuing a credit that can be reported to a bursar or a controller is really functionality that's not present, and we need to pivot some more attention to this and actually write up the development that needs to get done. But we haven't had the bandwidth to do it, or the person really.
Yes.
Is that on the guest list already? Should we put that on the guest list?
Yes.
Possible, yeah. All right, I will do that.
Okay, so for further questions on refunds, David and Susan are the experts. I am not. But this refund problem is true for all of refunds, not just for H2 last fees. It's a general workflow that's lacking here. Yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah. So we had covered the lost item fee, that is canceled, the lost item processing fee that is either canceled or still needs to be paid, and then overdue charges. For overdue fines, there is another setting: either charge overdues based on return date or do not charge overdues, and they are either charged or not. Yeah. As reminder fees, if you can combine, of course, H2 lost with reminder fees, but they are charged before the item is returned, and they just keep being outstanding. They're not canceled or whatever. You have to do this manually. So then, so we had the possibility that the fee is fully paid and that the item is returned. And the third possibility is that patron comes up and says, oh, but I have returned this. You must have made a mistake. So this is claimed returned. You can mark the loan claim returned. And what happens with the fees? The fees are suspended until you resolve the claim. The lost item fee is suspended, the processing fee is suspended, and you cannot action on them until the claim is resolved. You cannot pay or waive or whatever.
Cornelia, what does suspended mean in this case? As in, because if it's age to loss and then it's been fined, right? So you see, like I always use like a line for $100 for the cost, set cost, and 25 for the processing fee. And here you claim return. What does the suspended look like?
Suspended is an actual bill status.
Oh,
So the bill remains listed in the open bills, but the amount is not included in the, like, if there's a separate, sort of list of suspended bills, and it does not count towards blocks or any other, settings that you have.
yes.
And you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then, David, you also mentioned in chat that you can claim an item before.
Yes.
Okay. I can't see the chat, but yeah, of course, that's true. You can claim an item returned before it's age to loss,
and
then
just,
you don't have suspended fees, of course.
Yeah, exactly. All this just stops everything. It stops any further notices from going out, and it stops the item from aging to loss.
Yes. Thank you. So there are 4 different ways to resolve a claim returned. So either you find the item, and no, you don't. We start with you don't find the item, and you decide that it's not the patron's fault. The library must have lost it somewhere. And then you resolve the claim by you do that on the loan details page. You mark the item as missing, and that results in the lost item fee and processing fee being cancelled as well. And again, if there are partially paid or transferred amounts, they get refunded, and no overdue fines are charged. And the loan closes. Or you can find the item, but you still think the patron has lost it. Or the patron comes up and says, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't return it. I've actually lost it. Then you declare the item lost. That's also done on the loan details page and resolve the claim. The suspended lost item fee and processing fee then is cancelled as well, and there are no overdue fines. But a new lost item fee and processing fee is charged for the action of declaring the item lost. So you have a cancelled fee for the age to lost action, and then you have a new fee for the declared lost. And then you can have an error back to here, then you have all 3 possibilities again. Can all start from the top. Because this is not only for age to lost, it's also the same.
So maybe here, because this is a loop, right?
Yes.
So starting, it was loaned, claimed returns, declared lost. Even though here from the circuit of the fee fines, we go back to the top. In practice, can you claim it's returned again? Or is it like you're stuck at declared lost until you then buy a new item essentially, internally? Or can you technically keep that loop going ad infinitum?
Technically, you can keep that going, yes. I mean, at some point you will insist that the fee is paid and the loan closes. Rather sooner than later, I think.
And don't worry, like I'm not saying this to avoid it, right? I think as long as we're just aware that it is possible, and that's why we need to take actions to deal with the items that have been claimed lost. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you can see all the actions on the loan. So in practice, you won't allow the patron to claim something returned over and over. Of course, yeah. So then you have the possibility to check the claimed returned item in when it's found, like the patron was right and you found it, or the patron found it themselves. So when you check a claimed returned item in, there is a modal that comes up and you have to choose, was it found by the library or was it returned by patron? If it's found by the library, no overdue fines are charged. And if it's returned by the patron, overdue fines are charged, regardless of this setting here. So the lost item fee is canceled as well. And then we have the matter of the lost item processing fee. If the policy says it should be removed, then it is canceled as well, like here. If it says it shouldn't be removed, then you would expect that it goes back to outstanding, but this is some kind of missing requirement. This does not happen. Instead, the processing fee stays in the status of suspended, but it can be paid, waived, or transferred. Why do I have repeated text in there? Yeah. So this is a bit confusing, and we can talk about this in a few minutes when we come to possible improvements. So, are there any questions about this process so far before we talk about existing bugs? Or should we go through an example?
People are shaking their head.
Okay.
No questions?
Great. So, then we can shortly talk through some recent or still open bugs. There is one that the suspended fine, when you have an item claimed, returned, and then resolved as marked as missing, that the suspended fines are not always canceled. This is something David Chicago has reported.
Yeah, there's some, it's not a reliably
Yes.
reproducible bug.
Yes.
I suspect, well, I don't know exactly why. We haven't come up with a pattern of why it happens here, but it does happen.
Yes, the bug description says it makes a difference if you press the claim return button, and if you do something else in between, then it will cancel the fines. But if you claim it returned and then immediately mark as missing afterwards, then it doesn't. But it's yeah, that's not always the case, because yeah, it does not always happen when you mark it immediately as missing, but I've also seen it happen on Bugfest when there was time between the two actions. So yeah, it is not reproducible. That's why, yeah.
So there's something wrong?
It's reproducible, but not consistently reproducible.
Not consistently, yes, that's what I meant to say, yes, thank you. Yeah, there's something wrong, but we don't know why and when. Yeah, no, that's right. So that's why we'll probably need some more time to properly get into this. But yeah, you just should be aware. In this case, the fee is in a suspended state, but can be actioned upon. It's the same like we had. It's the same as here. It can be paid or waived. It says it is suspended, but unlike in this status, it can be actioned upon. But you need to notice. So need to be aware of this bug. So there was another bug that was resolved with Poppy. So if you're not on Poppy yet, but I think everyone is, you need to be aware of this. Susan found this, that the lost item fees were not suspended when the item was claimed returned from the ellipsis.
But what are the
This was, let me go to the user. Like you can go into the loan details and claim returned from here. And you can check here and claim returned. And you can go here in and claim returned. And claiming returned from here did not suspend the fees. But this is resolved with Poppy. So this is only important for libraries that are not on Poppy yet or have some older data. So another bug that we talked about in the SIG already was that that paying a previous fee or fine causes the item status change to lost and paid while the item is checked out. So this was someone had a fee on an item, someone else checked it out, and it aged to lost or was declared lost. And then the first person who had the item before could pay their fee and the item got lost and paid while still checked out by the second person. This Susan and Erin investigated a lot in this. This is resolved with Kisnelia.
And David says in chat an overdue fee or processing fee. Sorry.
Yeah, basically just pointing out that there wouldn't be an open lost item fee. It's actually hitting other kinds of fees.
Yes.
Because obviously, if you've loaned it to a new patron, there shouldn't be a lost item fee anymore. Not an open one.
Yes. That's correct. So, and then we had the problem that we have a fee from a previous loan, so like overdue fines or something, or manual fee, or it could be a lost item processing fee. It's still open, not a lost item fee, but a processing fee. So the same case, there is an open fee from a previous loan, and the item is checked out again and gets claimed returned, either before being lost or after being lost. Then the previous fee from the first patron is blocked from actions because claimed returned fees are blocked from actions, as I said. So this, yeah. But there shouldn't be if it's a fee from a previous loan. So this got resolved with Ramson's. Will be resolved with Ramson's because it's not out yet. Yeah. So this is a bug still be aware of currently. So then let's move on to possible improvements. I talked about this, what happens with the processing fee when it's not removed via policy. What should happen? It stays suspended, but can be actioned upon. And Holly, when she was still PO, she already wrote a JIRA and proposed that when the item is found by library, then the processing fee should also be canceled. And when the item is returned by a patron, then the processing fee should go back to outstanding. She then closed those tickets as duplicate because she thought it would be as duplicate to some actual cost fee tickets, but they weren't actually duplicate. So there was, it was a suggestion how to handle this better. And we could discuss if we should reopen those tickets or if we want would prefer any other behavior.
I mean, I guess at least for the part of these tickets, so if we decide like this is still valid and we want to change them, I'd say reach out to Tom to check exactly how to deal with this, right? Because we can reopen tickets. But I'm also seeing here, because those are stories, right? They should always be tied to a feature, and they've got a feature there, but I don't know, do they have a feature there? No, sorry, that is actually tied directly to an epic. So long story short, I don't know like who owns, I don't know if it's still Vega who owns this or someone else, and when they could pull it out of the backlog, and also admittedly if that description is enough for actually like if one story is enough here or if it needs further what's the word I've forgotten?
Elaboration, like more.
Yeah, there's a word in agile development and I've forgotten it. But the managing of the tickets, if it needs more ticketing or not, and Tom should be able to guide you there accordingly, at least. Because I agree, it just sucks because when it's closed, it doesn't appear in any backlog because it's closed, right? But I don't know where to put it in the backlog, but Tom should be able to include that.
Yes, we should, but we should first decide what do we want. We don't need to discuss this now. We can postpone it to a later meeting where Tom is there, of course. But I wanted to bring this to your attention because the current behavior is not ideal.
But
I mean, it works, but it's been confusing to people.
I will put down as notes that we will put it on the agenda as a separate topic and invite Tom. I mean, he's at most of the meetings anyway, especially let him also have a go and inform him, maybe he can dig into it beforehand then.
Yes, great. So in the meantime, you can all think about it and what you would expect to happen.
Some homework.
So another thing that was discussed several times in SIG meetings is the need to be able to claim something returned for which the fees were already transferred. Transferring closes the loan, and you can only claim returned open loans so far, but this has come up as a need for some to be able to claim something returned when the fees are when the loan is closed and the fees were transferred. I think I don't know who it was. Maybe David can know.
We don't do transfers at Chicago, so it would have been one of the libraries
That do transfers, yes.
that does transfers. I don't recall who at this point. lost to the mists.
For what it's worth, my two, probably not important sense, but anyway, I feel this is a good example where it's like, for me, it opens like some philosophical questions beyond this here. Because I get the point that if you transfer it, you close the loan. That's the point we said, when the fees are dealt with and everything, you close the loan. So either it's like, one direction is like, do we just always allow loans to be reopened, or when do we reopen loans? Or the second is, do we assume that transferred fees doesn't close a loan? And if the answer is still we want to keep the old functionality but still allow this, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, why not? But I feel we'd have to really, you know, go through step by step to see what that would mean beyond how it gets coded, just even what it means from a, like, philosophically for data and loans that are open or not, and fees that are dealt with or not in Folio.
So basically the question, what does it mean to be
Yeah.
open? What does it mean to
Yeah.
when other situations when you want to be
Exactly.
reopened? Is it even possible? Should
And
it
like, exactly, and like how long in, like, at some point, how long do you say, like, you can claim it returned for 6 weeks after, 6 months after, forever afterwards? Is there gonna be a final close or like an in-final close? Anyway, sorry.
that would require another item state, right? No? Like
I don't know, that's
final
the-
closed, finally closed or something?
Close
Yeah.
for real. Yeah, yes, close for real.
That's forever. Okay.
That is definitely a complicated thing, yeah. So I have no strong opinion on it, so just wanted to bring this to your awareness.
I wonder, and I'm just saying it out loud for the record here. Does anybody know, can you refund or untransfer, for lack of a better word? So if I've transferred the fees out of somewhere else, can I bring them back onto the loan? And when I do that, well, sorry, first of all, and if I do that, then could I claim return? But then I'm thinking, if I've transferred it out and the loan is closed, can you transfer fees back to a closed loan? I don't know, I haven't tried it.
Wouldn't that be a manual process probably?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's again, another like question generally to this thing, it's like, how often does it happen? And therefore, does the current functionality allow to achieve the goal we want to do with this, even if it's not as automatic or smooth or involves a few extra steps? Would also be just generally a question to this situation here. But I again, if I think back at the logic of like, if it's transferred, then the loan is closed. I've never tried undoing the fee fine actions on a closed loan. Like, I don't know what happens. Who that's fair.
Yeah, the only way to undo fee fine actions is refund. No,
Yeah.
but it won't reopen the loan. So
Right.
Yeah. And actually, when you check in an item that has been, the fee fine has been transferred, that's when it creates all of these credits. So instead of just canceling the original charge, that's when you get the credit refund situation that Cornelia described earlier. That's not truly a credit. And it's very confusing, but it makes the item go from lost and paid to available, but it's not really tied to, it's sort of like shadow tied to the user, because when you check it in, you can't go directly to the user. You don't even see the user in the ellipsis. You have to go back to the item in the circ log to find out who it was out to and where, and then you see the credits and refunds. So it's not, I'm not crazy about how the transferring is developed right now, and I'm really concerned about this opening a loan. I don't even know why we close the loan when it gets transferred. Like, that is arguably not necessarily what I would do. So I think that I agree that this is a bit of a kettle of fish with claiming return something that was transferred. But I'd love to have the conversation.
Would that be fitting to put it together with the refund credit process, the whole process, or should we keep them separate? Like,
They're related.
yeah, they're related, and is it easier to see the whole process and how, or is it easier to break it down to smaller chunks, which I would say it's always true for when we want to write up Jira issues, but maybe to discuss and
Philosophically.
thank you, this one, questions, then we maybe look at the whole process, I don't know.
I think it's a bit 6 and 2 3s. I think in an ideal world, you'd have both topics live together and complement each other, where you have generally how is refunds managed, as in like, regardless of how it's used in the real world, and then this is or like, and then each we find the examples in the real world. I think ideally we deal with the refund topic first, but realistically that's not going to happen, and it'll probably be driven by real life cases such as this. So therefore, I personally would probably say move forward with the real life cases where we actually have problems, but ideally there would be something that's looking at then how these real life problems are being solved, and making sure that it follows the philosophy of what we want to achieve with refunds. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and we just had a PO ask me anything question round, and they are and you are asking to look also over the borders of your own topics and maybe look at other related functionality as well. And I think this is maybe something, I mean, this is all related to resource access, right? But maybe we talk about that in our next meetings a bit more about that, but yeah. I will not write it down close to each other on the gap list and maybe link them as well so that we don't lose the sight of it.
David's got his hand up.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I know that we're basically out of time, but I can't remember if there's a JIRA for this or not, but there's a really, it's somewhat of an edge case, but it's a fairly core piece of functionality that's missing from the claim return process, which is once an item has been claimed returned, there's no ability to cancel the claim. Yeah. So once it's been claimed as returned, the only thing you can do is mark it missing, bill the patron, or check it in. And especially if you've claimed something as returned before the lost item fee has been charged, and then the patron says 20 minutes later, oh, never mind, actually, I found it, it's right here, I have it, and it's not due for 6 months. There's no way for us to just kind of roll things back, and that's, you know, a small but significant pain point in this already small but significantly painful process.
Yes, I have not included this here because it's not it does not cover specifically fees. Yeah. Yeah. But there are, yeah.
But ideally you'd want to do it even when there were fees, because if you had
Yes.
something that was a fee, you could then roll it back and then renew the item, and that would take care of the fees as well. Whereas once it's claimed as returned, you cannot renew it either. That screws everything up.
Yes. We also still don't have some claimed return search feature, which was originally planned. So, but the last thing I want to mention, which is connected to fees again, if when you charge actual cost and you claim the item returned, or you even mark it missing after being returned, it is not removed from the lost items requiring actual cost page. This is something you need to be aware of, because you can, where are we? There. I'm locked out. Okay. So, okay, I won't show it. You can be on the actual cost page and see a book listed that was in the meantime was claimed returned, or even marked as missing, and it's still on there. So basically, you need, if you're not sure, you basically need to check the loan date details.
Could I ask a favor, Cornelia? Just a very quick improvement. Could you I don't know if you can, I'm gonna update the ticket title and just, when actual cost item is claimed return, comma, if actual cost has not yet been claimed, comma, then remove the table entry, because I struggled. Directly in Jira, possible.
Oops. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, it's I've just copied it out there, and there is no comma.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. And it's just because you've got the tickets and you're at home on your desktop, you could just like put a comma after the bill and then add it and then remove, then to make it easier to understand what this is about.
Yes. Yes, I can change yeah, I can change the ticket as well. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we have 1 minute, Cornelia, and then 10 minutes before the next group is going to take over this room, which is also a very interesting group, of course. No, yeah, everyone here should come to the reading room circulation group. Sorry, Cornelia, I want to give you the last words, of course.
Yeah, I was finished anyway. So just a quick question: do you find this helpful?
So yes, absolutely. I even put in a little note for myself. It's like, maybe we could try it like, first of all, thank you so much for doing this, actually. Not even yet, totally. Not just for the purpose of presenting it here, but it's like, this isn't documented anywhere, right? Even the docs, like, can I get it right? It's like, says you the lists of the options that exist in the user interface, but it doesn't actually explain how it all goes through. And I put in, which in I feel like, couldn't we try and do this for all open topics? And I say open topics as in like, you know, here it's very specific, the claim return and fee fines, but be it like, hey, here's a general workflow for this area. I don't have a good example, sorry. And then these are the open tickets and bugs that are related to this, and post it somewhere in the wiki, not just as part of our RA SIG, but somewhere around, this is, you know, the, like, what is it called, the information, implementation info, I can't remember, there's a space for that. That says like, this is the current status as of September 2024 for this area there. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying, you know, I realize I need someone to do it and everything, but I'm inspired by the work you've just done. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Should we talk with the documentation group about that? These kinds of documentation.
Yeah.
So that they might find a solution for everyone.
Maybe.
But
yeah,
but until then, we should definitely put it on our wiki space. That is, if you are up for it, Cornelia, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that concludes our session for today, and I will remind you that we have a session tomorrow as well, and right now in this room as well, or in 10 minutes, for the circulation for reading room. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you all. Bye, everyone at home.
Bye. Have fun.